Hey, my name is Ivan and we're doing another toy review. Like, this has not become the main focus of the channel. Today we're taking a look at the Rider Kicks figure Kamen Rider Decade. Yes, I did the end last week, so you know DK was coming. And besides, DK had a little bit of a cameo in the figure lineup at the back, which I removed for this review because I think it overshadows the main figure that I'm trying to review. So yeah, I had that idea for 2 videos and I ditched it. Now, since I was so busy bashing on DN's character on the last review, this review I'm going to not only look at this figure, but also give you some insight on the Rider Kicks figure line. So basically, what Rider Kicks figures are these very, cheap. They are basically just Rider figures, but they are more more aimed for the posability more than anything. But since they are supposedly cheap, you can see that the painting on this guy is not that much. Usually, with Japanese toys, no matter it's Kamen Rider or Ultraman, their figures always just paint half of the figure. I'm gonna remove the right booker. They always just paint half of the figure, so it kind of leaves this kind of black, it's supposed to be fully magenta, but it just leaves a lot of black, and maybe consider a little bit ugly, but I'm not gonna say that because this figure is supposedly cheap for the price. I can't say this figure is cheap anymore. This figure is really expensive for something that's considered a kid's toy. This thing is basically the same price as a leader class Transformers figure. A leader class. Not a Voyager. Not a deluxe. A leader class. So can I say this guy is cheap? No. Another problem with this figure is that the sculpting is not that good. I'm trying to get the camera to focus on his face because the painting on his face is really messy. And it's the same problem with DN too, because DN's face is also really messy. It looks like someone took a marker and just stripe, and it doesn't look too cohesive. It looks kind of like garbage. But DK here seems to it looks more cohesive in the sculpting, but other than that, you can see that there are some paint mishaps, like what is this thing called? I don't know. And the mouth plate, you can see the mouth here, there's a little bit of scribbled on gray, the gray is poking out because I don't know why. It's the gray is poking out, and the whole figure is just painted badly, because if you go look over at the knees here, you can the lower cap, you can see kind of some black oozing out from the magenta paint, and it's the same issue on basically every side of this figure. You can see the hip here, body here, you can see that there's some black oozing out. The magenta paint is not strong enough to cover the black. So, and the other thing that I don't like about the painting here is it's just weird. If you see here, this thing is black and it's half white, half black in the shoulder armor on the I can't decipher left and right anymore. But this here is completely painted magenta, and it just kind of looks really weird at the back, and the back just completely black. It's completely black, and there's nothing else to say about the black. There's also one key issue that I had with my figure. It's the right booker. I didn't get the right booker. It was like this. I swear it was like this out of the packaging. I swear. The right booker wasn't there. So it just makes this look a little bit weird since the right booker is not here. So I always display him with the booker blade, which I just threw. And this is probably the most expensive accessory in this set. So there's a hole on I don't know if you can see this. There's a hole on here which pegs into this peg on his right hand, And you just slide this in, and there we go. He has his right booker. And the right booker itself is kind of bent. Like, it's not exactly cohesive, but whatever. I don't really care anymore. This figure is just here for a substitute before I get my hands on the Figure-Rise standard version of Decade. And other accessories include alternate hands. If you don't like this kind of neutral hand here, you can remove this and swap it with this hand, which looks ugly in my opinion because he's not holding anything, but this hand is just making him look like he's trying to hold something, and I just don't like it. And another hand, if you don't like the right booker, you can just remove the right booker, or remove this hand, and swap it out with this hand, which makes him look like he's holding a card, which is unpainted, and unpainted is completely black, but at this point I don't care. And there we go. He's holding a card of some sort. I don't know what this card is, but it's a card, so deal with it. And the final accessory, which is definitely one of my favorite accessories in this entire set, you get the Neo Decay driver. And I like this because I prefer the Neo driver than the original white driver, so this is gonna be great. So what you can do, you can just swap out the white driver by just taking it out and putting this onto Decade. Just put it on his belt, and there we go. Now he has the Neo Decay driver, and he can go beat up Geo and Gates. Perfect. Ball joint at the head can look up that far and look down that far. Rotation at the shoulder. Shoulder pad moves up, so it allows the arm to move out. Bicep swivel, bend at the elbow. Wrist swivel, works with the other hands as well. No waist, but he has a upper body ball joint, which can move side to side and up and down. Ball joint at the thigh, which is really tight for some reason, and it allows for a little bit of swivel, and he can kick. Bend at the knee. Ball joint at the something. His legs can move back that far. His booty is obstructing the move back, but he can kind of do this. That's just completely weird. Oh my god. And of course, he has a beautiful spread. And with every rider figure review, I need to test something out, which is the rider kick. And I'm going to do this right now. Move the leg up. Move the leg like this. Decade's rider kick is a little bit more specific than his hand's supposed to be like this. There we go, the rider kick. And it's working pretty well. Not too bad for a figure of a leader class price. Size comparisons. Here he is with Siege Prime, G1 Prime, Masterpiece Megatron, Figure-Rise Standard Kamen Rider Kuga, and yes, I am waiting for the Figure-Rise Standard Kamen Rider Decay to come out, and once it comes out, I'll definitely buy it and review it for you guys. My previous review, The End, SH Figure-Arts Ultraman Orb, and probably my next review, Ultimate Luminous Ultraman Nexus. Overall, this figure is not bad. If you just want a figure that you want to mess around with, this one is perfect. You can throw it. He doesn't have a lot of paint, so minus the paint chipping issue, which I don't have any because the paint is pretty strong. I've threw this figure against the wall a couple of times. Don't ask me why I do that. I would definitely recommend picking up this figure if this figure is $20, but it's not $20. So,